Hello, welcome to Shad Life. I am back from Boston. I'm up here in Cuyuna and I have the Nukeproof Scout MX build. So that means 29er front wheel, 27.5 rear. If you didn't know what that means, um, pretty stoked on it. I actually did go out and ride this morning. Um, and the video just that was way too busy. There were a lot of people. I got to the parking lot and there were cars parked down the middle, which I've never seen before, in both sides, and it was just packed. And this was the Yawkey unit where the winds and bobsled and these trails that I really felt that bike would enjoy riding. But there were just so many people on the trails. There was no way I was going to be able to stop and set up the tripod and get other angles, things like that. I did film the video, but at the end I kind of wasn't too happy with what I was able to do. So I don't know if I'm going to edit that up and release it later. I might when I get back into the cities. I might not. I might just kind of reset and try another one either tomorrow here in Cuyuna, or maybe I'll wait till I get back in the cities and do Monarch, because I think this bike would be really good in Monarch. So I'm enjoying riding it, I'll tell you that much. It's a sweet bike. But there's a couple other things I want to talk about. So I'm going to sit down here and let's talk about these things. Before I talk about my trip to Boston and why I did it, I want to talk about Steve from Hardtail Party. He just recently put out a video explaining his health condition. So I really like that guy's content. Stevie's really thorough. He does really good content, especially if you're like a geek like me and like to know every little detail, right? And so I'm wishing him the best. I hope he can get through this. If you're curious, watch his video and him talking about it. I don't like to talk about other people too much in their condition, because that's up for them to talk about. And he gets into full detail about all of it on his channel. It's a long video, but it's worth a watch if you're interested in his health. And it sounds like he's getting tons of support. That's awesome. Just unfortunate that that has to happen to somebody that is so active in the mountain biking community and does such a good job, and he has to take time off the bike now and things like that. So shout out to Steve. Hang in there. Hope you get through this. Hope you can get back to normal where your energy levels are high enough for you to continue doing what you love to do, because it's the same thing I love doing. So I totally get it, being off the bike. So speaking of being off the bike, I want to talk about Boston. So now that most of my family knows what's going on with my mom, I'm going to talk about it. And, you know, she's kind of one of these people. She's a strong, strong woman. She's independent, has pushed through many, many things. And she's older now, and around Thanksgiving last year, she got diagnosed with lung cancer. So she, has got kind of through that. She had some pain. She got some therapy. She was able to kind of push through that and is doing pretty well and independent, able to still do the things she likes to do and have good quality of life. So that's awesome. Recently, she started having some other issues with her throat, and her voice is getting a little weirded out, things like that. And she is, we don't know what's going on with her, but one of the things that's really frustrating to deal with right now is healthcare is really tough right now. She can't get in right away. They give her appointments that are months out and things like that. And this is somebody with cancer. Granted, she's older. I don't know how they prioritize things, if they focus more on younger people or whatever, right? But it's really hard to deal with that they can't just get her in, get her diagnosed, find out what's going on, see what we can do about it, things like that. So we don't even know what the throat thing is. We don't know if it's the cancer spreading, something else, whatever. So my mom decided she wanted to go to Boston. Well, I have some other relatives out there who are also older. Her sister is older than she is. And then her sister's husband, which would be my uncle, is older. So kind of was looking at this as possibly the last time I might, see those two, my aunt and uncle, and the last time my mom was going to be able to see him, because, we don't know how long they're all going to still be alive. So it was a very special trip. So yeah, I decided to go last minute and thought, well, I really want to be there. So I went there. It was great. I got to see my aunt and uncle. I got to hang out with my mom, help her out as best as I could, and so on and so forth. And I have other family there that can also help out with the situation. And then I got to see my cousins. I love my cousins. We're all, roughly in the same kind of age, between from lower 60s to mid 50s, and so on and so forth. So pretty cool to see my cousins hang out. And I actually went with my nephew, who's way younger, my sister's son, and ran around Boston a little bit. Looked at the Museum of Science and aquarium, and just looked at some stuff in Boston. So that was super cool to be able to go do, and I just kind of spontaneously did it last minute. But this is an opportunity that I don't want to miss, so I went and did it. Took the week off of work, took time off my channel, and so on and so forth. So this brings me, I'm trying to think of what I want to say. I want to talk about life in general here. Brings me to wanting to really talk about life here. So I had to get some water. Another thing that happened while I was there was August 14th happened. August 14th is my 7 years sobriety date. So lots of things happening all at the same time that are actually very emotional for me. So 7 years, not 17, I wish. 7 years of sobriety is huge for me. That breaks my record, or ties it, I should say, because I was 7 years sober in the 90s when I was hanging out with my BMX friends and running Twin City BMX and stuff. And then I went back out and started drinking again after that. And it took me quite a few years to get sober again. And I also want to put a shout out to Christy Henderson and a book she wrote called Recovering Out Loud. Super awesome book. I read it on the airplane on my way to Boston, and I read it on the way back and finished the book in that run. That was pretty cool. Some good thing to do on the flight. And man, that book is so good. I was like, wow, she really talks about this recovering out loud, her experience with alcoholism, her experience with trying to go to AA, and so on and so forth. And a lot of it hit home to me because I was never perceived as like a drunk that would drink until that you passed out, and I never was homeless. I never, like, people think you have to hit absolute bottom to be considered I won't say alcoholic. I feel like a lot of this kind of terminology is changing, but to have a problem with alcohol, have an addiction to alcohol, I definitely had an addiction to alcohol. There's no doubt in my mind, and even more so now that I read this book. So and I like her concept of recovering out loud. She talks about it, and I've always been open. I've been talking about being sober, and I'm willing to talk about it with people and be out into the open. I feel like that really not only helps me, but it helps other people who are struggling with the same addiction. So super important. Awesome book. I will put a link in the description to that book if you're interested. Super killer. I can't stress how good that book was. So yeah, 7 years sober. I'm pretty stoked on that. So what I really want to talk about for those of you watching, if you watch this far, is um, for you younger viewers that are watching, couple of things, right? Like, I know you've probably heard people say respect your elders, and I can guarantee you that when I was younger and somebody said respect your elders, I just was so rebellious against that. Like, I didn't agree, and I get it. I think the term saying respect your elders just is too much of a blanket statement, because there are some older people, adults or whatever, that aren't all that cool, or they're not giving you great advice, or they don't deserve your respect because they've wronged you and many people throughout their life. So to just blanket statement say respect your elders is kind of dumb, right? I get it. But definitely respect older people that, you know, are giving you advice, and that are, trying to help you live a better life. People like your parents, if they treat you well, your grandparents, or, maybe even siblings that are a little bit older than you, or aunts and uncles, things like that, right? Most of those people are trying to help you. And I understand that when you're younger, you kind of want to just be independent and do the things that you want to do and make the decisions you want to make. But when somebody older says, well, be careful or watch out when you do that, especially when it comes to drugs and alcohol and those kind of things, right? They're generally telling you those things from their own personal experience of having seen people suffer through those situations, whatever it is, right? And they genuinely care about you, and that's why they're giving you that advice. And even if you're in this world where we're going out and riding bikes and going off jumps and things like that, if they're like, I'd like it if you wore a helmet, right? Well, they're saying that for your own good. They're not saying that to try to control you or tell you what to do. They're saying that because they don't want to see you get hurt, and they don't want to see you hurt your head and then, potentially have lifetime consequences, right? So, listen to the people that you think matter in your life. How about that? Because respect your elders, forget that. I never went for that when I was younger, and I don't think people this generation would either. So if you're older, right, what I want to say, and older can be anything from 30, 40 years old and up or whatever, right? If you're healthy, or if you can still get healthy, and you don't have some kind of medical issue that's preventing you from really living your life, I highly recommend you do what you can to live a healthy life, and prolong your life and your health and your ability to do what you like doing for longer. And I say that because I kind of made that decision, you know, even before I quit drinking. I started eating healthier. I just stopped eating fast food. I didn't drink soda, all kinds of stuff that I changed my diet. I was doing more workouts, just going and doing fitness, group fitness stuff, things like that, and just really focusing on my health. And then quitting drinking was just kind of the cream of the crop, like the best thing I could have done for myself on top of all that other stuff. And my whole idea was, I want to do this for as long as I can. I want to be as active for as long as I can. I want to enjoy life for as long as I can. And I say as long as I can because, just like Steve from Hardtail Party and my mom and other people, you just never know when that's going to come to an end, or when it's going to be more challenging for you to really go out there and do the thing you love doing. So the time to do it is now. And if you're living an unhealthy lifestyle, or you're addicted to a substance or anything like that, if you're overweight and you've got a poor diet and you can make some changes to improve your life, do it. This is the time to do it. It's so important. Otherwise, you're just going to regret. You're going to, maybe die or have some other major physical ailment or disease or something that prevents you from really being able to live the life that you want to live. And if you're not already there, now's the time to go out and. So one of the things I did 3.5 years ago was I decided to get a knee replacement because my left knee was preventing me from really enjoying biking and able to go do it as much as I want. And I was so thankful that I was able to get this knee replacement, be able to ride at the capacity that I can ride and still be, pretty good, right? Like I can still shred pretty good. I'm, definitely not like the young riders out there. I'm no Sam Pilgrim, right? I always say that, right? Because that guy is just awesome, right? And he thinks he's getting old, right? I hear him talking about the young people all the time. And it's like, well, he's a really talented older rider, I'll tell you that much. But, you know, I feel really good, and I'm so thankful that I'm able to ride and do the things at the capacity that I can do them, and still able to jump. I'm still able to go longer distances. I'm still able to, whatever, right? Like, you know, it is awesome that I am where I'm at today. And it's all because of the choices I've made leading up to this moment right here. I have no idea what tomorrow has to offer. I have no idea what's going to happen tomorrow. Who knows, right? I could get a stroke for all I know. And if you get a stroke, you're half paralyzed afterwards. I have a friend not too long ago had that happen to her, and she is not able to ride a bike. She's in rehab all the time and so on and so forth. And she's, 10 plus years younger than me. So you just never know, right? That's how life is. It's unpredictable. So living in the moment, doing what you can in the moment, and also making the choices that you can make to better prolong your future and your better health in your future, and reducing the risks of something bad happening to you is so important. And I just want to get that out, because after what I went through and seeing my family in Boston, after hearing what happened to Steve at Hardtail Party, after knowing what's happened to some friends of mine, I actually recently, and I talked about that a couple of years ago, I think it's been, I had a friend die of alcoholism that was an old BMX friend of mine, and so on and so forth. So it's just, the way life is. So this video is pretty raw, unedited, just me talking as I think about what to talk about. So it's not perfect, but I wanted to get these thoughts out. Today, some people came up to me when I was eating lunch in Crosby, and they recognized me from my channel, and they came and said hi, and so on and so forth. That is so cool, and I love it when people come up and talk to me, because then it lets me know that I'm doing the right thing, that even though I don't have like huge number of subscribers or anything like that, I'm obviously making an impact to some people, and some people are watching my channel and they like what I do, and so on and so forth. So I really appreciate it when people comment and give me, thanks, and appreciate what I post about. And I like it when people come up to me. It really helps me realize I have to keep doing this, because there are times when it's hard and I want to just be like, I don't know if I should keep doing this. Should I keep doing it? I question it. Do people even care, right? All those questions. And I've talked about that in some of my videos about my journey and stuff like that, about self-esteem. And I was somebody that grew up with a lower self-esteem. Me deciding to do a YouTube channel was a huge hurdle I had to get over, a huge step in my life to decide to put myself out there. And it was not easy, I can tell you that. And I would watch my videos and I would hate watching them. I'm like, gosh, I'm not doing a good job. I'm not like so-and-so over here, not like so-and-so over there. They're so much better at making a channel than I am, blah, 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 right? I just so negative. But over time, I've really grown to improve the way I present my content, right? But not only that, I've really grown to like myself and believe in myself and realize that other people appreciate what I'm doing and what I have to say. Not everybody, because there's no way anyone's gonna please everybody, right? But as long as it's a decent amount of people, I'm good with it, right? So now I've been developing much more self-confidence. I feel like I'm more natural when I present my content. I'm not nervous and don't seem awkward, so on and so forth, and things like that. And even more lately, like if you've met me in person and we're riding or whatever, I'm like, dude, oh, that was so cool, that was rad, oh, whatever. I get pretty into it, right? But I don't do that as much on my channel because I don't, I feel like, oh, should I be doing that? Do I seem like a dork? Whatever. But I actually am like, no, that's who I am. That's how I am in real life. I've been, I don't know, the term rad from the 80s, right? And awesome, also popular from the 80s. I say them all the time. I get stoked all the time. And sometimes I feel like I don't show my stoke very well when I'm presenting on my channel. So I'm trying to do that even more, right? Like, yeah, like riding this Nukeproof Scout. That last video I did, I was stoked to ride it. So I'm going to say I'm stoked to ride it, right? Right? Yeah. So I'm going to really kind of keep evolving and keep, really deciding to put myself out there. And that actually, this Recovering Out Loud book really helped me kind of understand that I can just be myself and put myself out there. Be who I want to be. Be Shad. The channel is Shad Life. And if I'm just myself and do what I want to do and say things how I want to say them and whatever, most people are going to be like that, because lots of people, they like me, they like my content, they, my friends ride with me and we have a great time, all that stuff, right? I have lots of, a few closer friends, lots of, kind of other friends, acquaintances, whatever you want to, but we're all cool with each other and I can respect some of them and they respect me. It is such a cool community. So I'm just kind of thinking off the top of my head, but I think I'm done now. I think I've gotten what I want to get out. I'm back. I'm gonna get this review of this bike out there, try to make it good. I was actually so shocked at how many people were up here. Like, what? The trails had so many people on them. I kept catching up to people, and of course there's kids and stuff, and I love it when I see kids out riding the trail and so on and so forth, and waiting for them, and I want to be patient, and I just realized there's no way I'm going to be able to review a bike under these conditions, so I just decided to enjoy the ride. So there you have it. I really do appreciate your support for my channel, and if you listen to the end here, that is freaking awesome. Peace.